Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and gives this video a thumbs up. Theresa Nist, a Golden Bachelor alum, revealed she's intrigued what ex-husband Gerry Turner would divulge about their marriage in his novel. Gerry, 74, said in May that he was writing a memoir called Golden Years, What I've Learned from Love, Loss, and Reality TV about his time on the ABC dating show. The retired restaurateur is anticipated to discuss why his marriage to Theresa, 72, ended 3 months after their television wedding in January 2024. On Wednesday, August 20th, Theresa and fellow Golden Bachelor competitors Cathy Schwartz and Susan discussed the memoir during an episode of the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast. He texted me that his book will be released this fall, most likely in November. It's going to go quickly, so reserve yours today, she advised. And Nancy texted him, "Well, Gerry, I think it would be wonderful if you gave all of us Goldens a copy." He did not answer. As the group continued to explore Golden Years, Cathy encouraged Gerry to write positively about all of the Golden Bachelor women. "He better have said nice things about all of us," Cathy exclaimed. This is not the first time Theresa has admitted to having conflicting sentiments about her husband's memoir. In June, she told Us Weekly exclusively that she had no idea what he was writing in Golden Years. "We never truly had the chat that led to our breakup. Things have just happened." Gerry said at one point, "This isn't going to work out, is it?" And that was the end of it, she explained. Nothing was discussed. And not a single mention of his illness as the cause. That's what makes me apprehensive about what he might say in a book. Theresa told us that, while she had reservations about the biography, she ultimately believes that things worked out the way it was supposed to work out in her marriage. During Theresa's podcast reunion with her Golden Bachelor co-stars, Cathy revealed that Gerry dated Christina Kempton after his divorce. Theresa admitted that she was the one who suggested he go out with Christina, but the relationship was short-lived. Gerry is also anticipated to discuss his struggle with cancer in Golden Years. In December 2024, he stated that he had been diagnosed with macroglobulinemia, an incurable bone marrow malignancy. "Unfortunately, there is no cure for it. So that influences every decision I make," he told People. "It seemed like 10 tons of concrete had just been dropped on me. And I was in denial for a long, unwilling to admit it." He went on to say, "I'm going to have as much pleasure as possible in my life and enjoy every moment. And after I'm gone, I won't have any regrets." Golden Years, What I've Learned from Love, Loss, and Reality TV will be released on November 4th. When Theresa Nist first heard the news that Gerry Turner was writing a memoir, she felt a mixture of intrigue, apprehension, and even a touch of nostalgia. The title, Golden Years, What I've Learned from Love, Loss, and Reality TV, sounded both sweeping and intimate, the kind of book that could either be a heartfelt legacy or a sharp-edged tell-all. She knew Gerry well enough to understand that he had always been a man who wore his emotions carefully, revealing just enough to charm, but rarely the whole truth. To think that he would now attempt to place his story into the permanence of print unsettled her in ways she hadn't anticipated. On the podcast with Cathy Schwartz and Susan, the conversation had begun lightly, almost playfully, with their shared jokes about whether Gerry would have included flattering anecdotes about each of them. Yet beneath Theresa's polite laughter, there was a flicker of unease. Her marriage to Gerry, brief as it had been, still carried the weight of unfinished conversations, of an ending that had occurred without clarity or closure. Now, with the memoir approaching its release date, the past was being resurrected in ways that forced her to confront questions she had long tried to bury. What would he say about her? What would he say about the marriage that ended in less than 100 days? Those questions lingered like stubborn shadows, following her into her days and intruding in her nights. She had rebuilt her life with grace, finding solace in her friendships with the other Golden women, reconnecting with her children and grandchildren, even allowing herself to step tentatively back into the dating world, but Gerry's book threatened to reopen wounds that were only beginning to scar. When Gerry had first chosen Theresa at the end of The Golden Bachelor, it had felt like a fairy tale. Both widowed, both searching for companionship in their later years, both eager to prove that love did not have an expiration date. Millions of viewers had watched their televised wedding in January 2024, a glimmer of hope in a franchise often criticized for its fleeting romances. For a moment, they had been the embodiment of possibility, proof that second chances existed. But reality off-camera had been less forgiving. The small incompatibilities that reality TV glossed over began to widen into canyons. Theresa, practical and rooted, preferred a quiet life filled with family dinners and community ties. Gerry, still hungry for adventure and perhaps haunted by the fragility of his diagnosis, craved constant excitement, travel, media opportunities, public appearances. Neither was wrong in what they wanted, but together, the tension was impossible to reconcile. And then there was the matter of the breakup itself. Theresa had replayed the moment countless times in her head, Gerry sitting across from her at the kitchen table, his voice heavy with resignation as he said, "This isn't going to work out, is it?" There had been no argument, no dramatic revelation, just a quiet recognition that the fairy tale had reached its final page. She had expected more conversation, perhaps even an attempt to work things through. But Gerry had already made up his mind, and she had been left bewildered, her questions unanswered. Now, with the book's release scheduled for November 4th, the uncertainty gnawed at her. What version of their story would Gerry tell? Would he paint her as difficult, unsupportive, unwilling to embrace his lifestyle? Or would he honor the truth, that their love was real, but life simply proved more complicated than a television fantasy could allow? Kathy, ever the outspoken one, had warned him on the podcast through playful banter, "He better have said nice things about all of us." But Theresa knew that memoirs, especially those marketed to fans of reality TV, thrived on drama. Honesty might sell, but so did controversy. And controversy had a way of distorting lives into caricatures. Nancy's suggestion that Gerry gift copies of the memoir to the Golden Women had made everyone laugh, but Theresa couldn't help noticing that Gerry hadn't responded to the text. That silence, small as it was, felt like an omen. When Kathy brought up Gerry's short-lived romance with Christina Kempton, Theresa had surprised even herself with her honesty. Yes, she had encouraged Gerry to see Christina. She hadn't done it out of jealousy or bitterness, but rather out of a desire to see him happy, even if not with her. In some ways, it had been her way of closing the door fully, of proving to herself that she harbored no ill will. Still, hearing about Christina reminded her that Gerry was a man who moved forward quickly. He had always been restless, always looking to the next chapter, sometimes without fully finishing the previous one. Thanks for watching. If you likes this video, do not forget to subscribe my channel and do not miss any update.